Tonight, Hurricane Ernesto takes aim at Bermuda and is making an impact along the East Coast. Vice President Kamala Harris unveils her economic plan, and a suspect is charged in a scheme to auction off Graceland. First, Hurricane Ernesto, now a Category 2 storm closing in on Bermuda with winds up to 100 miles per hour. The airport is closed. Cruise ships are leaving the docks. The storm churning up the surf, causing life-threatening rip currents up and down the East Coast. At least 30 rip current deaths already reported in the U.S. this year. The race for the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris reveals her economic vision for this country, calling for programs to help families buy homes and cut the costs of groceries and medicine. Donald Trump faces backlash from some veterans for saying the Presidential Medal of Freedom he awarded to a top campaign donor is, quote, much better than the Medal of Honor given to the nation's greatest military heroes who have sacrificed in war. A potential breakthrough in ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas. President Biden sounding optimistic, saying we are closer than we've ever been. The verdict in a trial that's making national headlines. The white woman charged with shooting a black mother through the door of her home while the victim and her son were standing outside. A suspect charged in a scheme to steal Graceland and defraud the family of Elvis Presley. Prosecutors reveal alarming new details about the death of actor Matthew Perry, but we're now learning about the state of his addiction after 5 suspects were accused of supplying and administering the drug that killed him. And America strong tonight. 2 sisters and a surprise homecoming in front of the entire elementary school.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Friday. I'm Lindsay Davis in for David. We begin with Hurricane Ernesto kicking up rip currents and high surf all along the East Coast on one of the last weekends of the summer. Ernesto is now a Category 2 hurricane with 100-mile-an-hour winds, more than 700 miles off the U.S. mainland, Bermuda directly in its path. The National Weather Service now issuing alerts for high surf and rip currents up and down the East Coast. The waves kicking up on New Jersey's Long Beach Island. Reports tonight that a man has drowned off Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. The cause still unclear. Crews are getting ready on New York's Jones Beach, but so far this year, rip currents have killed at least 30 people in the U.S. and its territories. Bermuda is bracing for the hurricane's arrival, locking down, closing the airport, opening shelters, and waiting for the storm to pass. Meteorologist Brittany Bell has the forecast and timing in a moment. But first, ABC's Morgan Norwood leads us off from Hamilton, Bermuda tonight. Morgan, looks like the wind and rain already starting to pick up.
Hi, Lindsay. Yes, here in Hamilton, Bermuda, the conditions here are certainly deteriorating. You named it, from the wind to the rain. We are getting in on it all. But look, none of this compares to Hurricane Ernesto's strongest winds, which are on track to slam right into this tiny island.
Tonight, after battering Puerto Rico and the Leeward Islands, Hurricane Ernesto is bearing down on Bermuda.
We are facing an intense and prolonged period of at least 36 hours of sustained winds and dangerous weather conditions.
Marinas deserted, cruise ships gone. Tom and Darlene Fernandez are here on vacation from South Carolina. They know about hurricanes.
We know what to expect, but the anxiety of being in a foreign place while the storm is coming, that's the unnerving part.
Even though it's churning hundreds of miles offshore, Ernesto will still bring dangerous surf and potentially deadly rip currents to beaches up and down the east coast of the U.S. At New York's Jones Beach, crews building sand berms to help keep the waves at bay, warning beachgoers to be careful.
Water's been very rough. Going forward this weekend, we're predicting very serious and very strong rip currents.
And here in Bermuda, there is a strict building code, which means all buildings must be able to withstand 110-mile-per-hour sustained winds. So that means structures like this, as the storm continues to move through, will certainly be put to the test, Lindsay.
We hope everyone is able to stay safe. Morgan, thank you. I want to get right to meteorologist Brittany Bell from our New York station, WABC. Brittany, Ernesto is not just a threat to Bermuda. It looks like it could be a dangerous weekend along the East Coast with that rip current threat.
That's right, Lindsay. So even though Ernesto stays about 700 miles off the East Coast, it will bring life-threatening rip currents and rough surf throughout the entire weekend. Right now, Ernesto is a Category 2 hurricane, and it will hit Bermuda as a Category 1 late tonight through early tomorrow morning, with max sustained winds near 90 miles per hour, also bringing heavy rainfall and dangerous storm surge that continues moving north throughout the Atlantic as a Category 1, but still looking at that high rip current risk. It will bring impressive waves. Look at this forecast. Waves approaching 5 to 9 feet starting Saturday, lasting into Sunday, even staying elevated on Monday. There's even the threat for coastal flooding along the mid-Atlantic, and that rip current risk stays elevated potentially Monday into early Tuesday. A closer look at the forecast along the eastern seaboard this weekend. Saturday stays mainly dry, maybe an isolated shower with high temperatures ranging from the upper 70s and the lower 80s. Lindsay?
Beachgoers, of course, going to want to heed those warnings. Brittany, thank you. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris gave her first major policy speech about a concern that is top of mind for many voters, the economy. She is promising what she calls an opportunity economy with programs to help Americans lower costs and build wealth and to protect them from corporate greed. With more on the specifics of the Vice President's to-do list, we turn to ABC's Selina Wang, who's traveling with the Vice President in North Carolina tonight.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris, in her first major policy speech, casting herself as a champion of the middle class.
Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
Harris acknowledging that even as inflation slows, middle-class families are still feeling the pinch. The vice president says she's been there.
Later in college, I worked at McDonald's to earn spending money. Well, some of the people I worked with were raising families on that paycheck. They worked second or even third jobs to pay rent and buy food. That only gets harder when the cost of living goes up.
Harris zeroing in on pocketbook issues, proposing a ban on corporate price gouging on food and groceries, up to $25,000 in down payment support for first-time homeowners, a tax credit of up to $6,000 for families with a newborn, and capping the cost of insulin at $35 and out-of-pocket expenses for prescription drugs at $2,000. Tonight, many questions remain about how Harris would get her plan through Congress and how it would be paid for. But in North Carolina, the vice president focused on drawing a contrast with Donald Trump.
He plans to give billionaires massive tax cuts year after year. You know, I think that if you want to know who someone cares about, look who they fight for.
And she attacked Trump's proposal for tariffs on all imports.
It will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication.
Tonight, the Trump campaign firing back, bashing Harris's economic plan as extremely damaging and a massive expansion of government control.
Selina Wang joins us now from Morrisville, North Carolina. Selina, the vice president, of course, chose North Carolina to roll out her plan, a key battleground state she's certainly hoping to capture in November.
That's right, Lindsay. This is a state that Donald Trump won twice, but Harris is gaining ground here in the polls, and she's hoping to make a dent. This weekend, she's barnstorming battleground Pennsylvania with Tim Walz, trying to keep up the momentum all the way through the Democratic National Convention. Lindsay?
Selina, thank you so much. ABC News will cover the Democratic National Convention in Chicago next week, beginning Monday in prime time, streaming on ABC News Live at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then here on the network at 10 p.m. Monday night. Former President Trump's comments about veterans are sparking a new controversy tonight after he said the Presidential Medal of Freedom that's given to civilians is actually, quote, much better than the highest military honor given to those who have served. ABC's Rachel Scott has more.
Donald Trump tonight fending off criticism that he insulted veterans when he said the nation's highest civilian honor, the Medal of Freedom, is, quote, much better than the Medal of Honor, which is reserved for America's greatest war heroes. Trump was addressing Republican mega donor Miriam Adelson, who he awarded the Medal of Freedom when he was in office.
We gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman.
Tonight, Senator Mark Kelly, a former Navy combat pilot, saying, when the Medal of Honor is awarded posthumously, it's often to Americans who have thrown themselves on grenades or braved enemy fire. Heroes who have paid the ultimate price to save others. Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu, an Air Force veteran, adding, the Presidential Medal of Freedom award you gave to your donor is not better than the Congressional Medal of Honor given to military heroes. But Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, who served as a Marine in Iraq, defending the former president.
I don't think him complimenting and saying a nice word about a person who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom is in any way denigrating those who received military honors. They're two different awards, and I think the president was saying some nice things about a person that he liked, and that's a totally reasonable thing to do.
Trump himself never served in uniform. He sought 4 deferments and 1 medical disqualification, citing bone spurs in his foot to avoid going to Vietnam. In the past, he's attacked former prisoners of war like Senator John McCain, who spent 5 years in captivity.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Trump's former chief of staff, retired General John Kelly, also said Trump once refused to visit the graves of fallen American soldiers in France, calling them, quote, losers, something Trump has denied. Tonight, the Harris campaign insists Trump's latest comments prove he, quote, knows nothing about service to anyone or anything but himself.
With the first presidential debate now less than a month away, tonight we are learning that Donald Trump's campaign is bringing in former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to help with his debate preparations. Gabbard, who was once a Democrat herself, ran for president back in 2019 and faced off against Kamala Harris on that debate stage. Lindsay.
Rachel Scott for us. Thanks so much, as always. The first vice presidential debate is now set. Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance have both agreed to face off on October 1st. And, of course, ABC News will have the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Vice President Harris on September 10th. Overseas now, a rare glimmer of hope in the war between Israel and Hamas. After 2 days of talks on a ceasefire and hostage release, President Biden says we are closer than we've ever been. More talks are now set for next week, even as the violence in Gaza and the West Bank rages on. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burge reports once again from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, as Israeli airstrikes continue in the Gaza Strip, what could be a major breakthrough at those ceasefire talks in Doha. The US, Egypt and Qatar talking up the chances of a deal between Israel and Hamas.
We are closer than we've ever been. I don't want to jinx anything.
The US and other mediators admitting specific issues still need to be worked out, but hoping an agreement could be finalised as soon as next week. If that were to happen, it could dial down regional tensions. Today we witnessed the aftermath of a raid by armed Israeli settlers on a Palestinian village in the occupied West Bank. The settlers destroyed people's cars. They threw Molotov cocktails at people's homes. We're told women and children inside feared for their lives. One villager was shot dead. Surveillance video capturing the settlers dousing someone's property with accelerant, setting it alight.
Your child was sitting here when they threw a Molotov cocktail through the window.
Ahmed calling it a savage attack. This was unprovoked. There was no incident before this.
No, nothing. They just came suddenly with no reason.
And tonight, President Biden warning Iran and its proxies not to launch retaliatory strikes against Israel for 2 assassinations while those ceasefire negotiations are ongoing, saying in a statement, no one in the region should take actions to undermine this process. Lindsay?
Tom Sufi-Burge reporting from Tel Aviv. Tom, thank you. Next tonight, a top Ukrainian official says for the first time that Ukraine's offensive inside Russia aims to persuade Russia to engage in peace talks. New video from the Ukrainian military shows their forces crossing deeper into Russian territory, tanks firing at a border point in Sucha in Russia's Kursk region. But even as the Ukrainians advance, Russia is closing in on a key city in Ukraine's east. Residents there are being urged to evacuate. Back here in the U.S. tonight, a Florida jury has convicted a white woman of first-degree felony manslaughter for the deadly shooting of her neighbor, a black mother of 4, during an ongoing dispute over the neighbor's children. Susan Lawrence fired through her front door at A.J. Owens, who was unarmed and standing outside with her now 10-year-old son. The all-white jury rejected Lawrence's claim that she feared for her life. She now faces up to 30 years in prison. Next tonight, a suspect has been charged in a complicated scheme to steal Graceland and defraud the family of Elvis Presley. Prosecutors say Lisa Finley used multiple aliases trying to foreclose on Elvis's home and sell it at auction, claiming his late daughter Lisa Marie Presley had put up the estate as collateral for a loan she didn't repay. Here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim.
Tonight, a Missouri woman charged with allegedly trying to steal Graceland and defraud Elvis Presley's family out of millions. Federal officials say Lisa Finley created a scheme falsely claiming Lisa Marie Presley put the famous estate up as collateral for a loan she didn't repay before her death in 2023. But that loan didn't exist. Investigators say Finley allegedly took advantage of the very public and tragic occurrences in the Presley family for her personal gain, using fake names to make fake loan documents and even filing a creditor's claim in court, hoping to cash in by threatening to foreclose and auction Graceland to the highest bidder earlier this year. Just hours before the Memphis, Tennessee mansion, one of the most famous homes in the country, was to be sold, a major break in this case. This notary stamp stopped the sale.
When you saw the signature, what about it stood out to you?
That it looks absolutely nothing like my signature.
Kimberly Philbrick, a notary public in Daytona Beach, Florida, telling us she never notarized the fake loan documents, testifying in front of a grand jury earlier this week that brought the charges against Finley.
Finley is facing up to 20 years behind bars for these charges, and this arrest coming on a significant date. Elvis Presley died 47 years ago today at Graceland. Lindsay.
Eva Pilgrim reporting. Thanks so much, Eva. When we come back, prosecutors reveal alarming details about Matthew Perry's addiction following the arrest of 5 suspects charged in his death. And the Emmy Awards making history with its 2 new hosts who will be taking the stage on Emmy night. Disturbing new details tonight about the drug-related death of actor Matthew Perry. Prosecutors revealing the alarming state of Perry's addiction, saying he was having ketamine injected 6 to 8 times a day before his death. It comes after 5 suspects were charged in his death, including alleged drug dealer Jasmine Songa, known as the Ketamine Queen, and Dr. Salvador Plasencia. Both have pleaded not guilty, the other defendants pleading guilty. When we come back, the Emmys making history for the first time, a father-son team hosting the awards. We'll tell you who. To the Index, and this year's hosts of the 76 Emmy Awards are making history. Eugene and Dan Levy will be the first father-son team to MC the Emmys next month. They also made history as the first father-son duo to win major Emmy Awards in the same year, starring together on the same show. The Emmys air September 15th right here on ABC. When we come back, 2 sisters and homecoming surprise in front of the whole school. Finally tonight, the big surprise behind the curtain, America Strong. Tonight in Gilbert, Arizona, just outside Phoenix, you're watching U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Chris Fulton attempt a very special mission, walking into Carl Ray Ranch Elementary with his wife Jordan, where their 2 daughters are at school. Sergeant First Class Fulton has served 18 years, 3 deployments, including Iraq, for the last 12 months. When he got word he'd be heading back home, he and his wife hatched an idea: surprise their daughters at school. The school calling an assembly in the cafeteria. Their daughters, 10-year-old Layla and 8-year-old Lana, right there. Dad just behind the curtain. Our affiliate ABC 15 documenting the whole thing.
This is going to be a military assembly.
Mr. Bergen, the school principal, drawing names out of that bucket for prizes before, of course, calling out the girls' names.
Layla Fulton! Oh, unbelievable. This is weird. Lana! Lana, sister! Are we ready to see what's behind the curtain?
Running up to their dad with this huge embrace. All 3 wiping away tears. Sergeant First Class Chris Fulton with his hand to his heart as the students begin cheering USA. Tonight here, that family now happily home together.
When the curtains opened, I felt super shocked. I'm just happy that Daddy's back home.
We're so thankful for the support of our family, our community members, and everyone involved in making this happen.
Feel that love that I felt when I got to see these girls for the first time and they saw me, that excitement, that joy.
Daddy's home, so heartwarming. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lindsay Davis for David and all of us here. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.